And we are live tonight from the Outer Rim in what is another gorgeous night here at Urza's Holotable Hall. And tonight I am joined by my friend and fellow colleague, Nukin, my game changer buddy. How you doing tonight?
What's going on, Urza? Yeah, it's a glorious night. We're going to talk some Zam Wessel Bounty Hunter rework action in this video. And it is probably your guys' pleasure because not only we're going to talk about a reworked character, which we all love, you have two amazing game changers to cover it, not just one.
Yes, it's all about Zam Wessel and us, of course. But we're diving into the recent rework and answering some important questions. Just how hot is this rework, guys? And what game modes and squads can maximize Zam's utility? And lastly, am I secretly a Nukin cosplayer in my spare time? All of this and more. There will be thermal detonators. There will be some deep, dark Urza secrets. All after the break. Let's hit it.
All right, so now we're going to start talking about her kit, Zam's kit, of course. And you may know a little thing or two about her kit. You may not know anything or have forgotten. There's definitely going to be some changes, and we'll be basically highlighting those changes. But first off, really quick review. Zam Wessel, she is a bounty hunter, scoundrel, attacker, dark side character. And not only does she look pretty cool and have some nice animations, she has some potent debuffs. She can do evasion down. And of course, she is the thermal detonator queen. She has detonators for days. So let's go over her kit, starting off with her basic. Take it away, Urza.
Yeah, so the basic here is called Detonating Shot. Deal physical damage to target enemy. All thermal detonators on the target explode, dealing damage immediately. If any thermal detonator explodes, Zam gains 20% turn meter for each living scoundrel ally. So I don't know, is this any different than what it was before, Nukin?
Actually, this probably is the only ability that did not make any changes whatsoever, but it could still be a surprise for some people out there. It was already a pretty good ability, and I think basically her strengths are going to revolve around that synergy of why her basic was already good. So actually, this might be the only ability that received no changes.
Yep, and you're going to be using this to pop those thermals and just gain a ton of speed for each living scoundrel ally. So again, pretty sweet ability. And we'll go ahead and move on to the next one here, which is See What Sticks. It's got a 4-turn cooldown. Real simple here, guys. Place thermal detonators on all enemies that explode after 2 turns. Zam gains speed up for 3 turns. Are we seeing anything different here?
We are. So she is going to be gaining speed up for 3 turns now, which is quite interesting because on top of the capability of gaining a bunch of turn meter that she always could have gotten from her basic attack, 20% turn meter from every other living scoundrel ally, she's going to have speed up for 3 turns as well. So she's going to be able to even more reliably cycle through her turns. So not too much of a change there with the first special. It is going to be a nice change. But let's see what's going on with the next special. I think there's going to be some more juicy changes here. What's going on with Electro Goggles, Urza?
So it's on a 3-turn cooldown. It's called Electro Goggles, as you mentioned. Inflict evasion down on all enemies for 4 turns and a thermal detonator on all enemies that already had a thermal detonator for 2 turns. Zam recovers 10% protection for each enemy with a thermal detonator. Zam gains 50% turn meter. This attack can't be evaded. So I think there's a lot of sweeping changes here, right?
There is. I see here that basically you're going to be applying this to all enemies now, and you're going to be able to have the thermal detonator for 2 turns basically help to recover the protection of Zam, which is nice because she has been a little bit on the squishy side in the past. And I think the strongest thing here is that turn meter gain. So she was getting a lot of turn meter before with the basic, but now this second special is going to give Zam 50% turn meter. She's basically going, it's kind of like BB-8, how he does his first special and then basically he's already up to like half turn meter and he can go again pretty quickly. So not a back-to-back turn, but 50% turn meter is no joke. Combine that with some basics maybe and that speed up that we talked about. Zam's going to be going relatively quickly right after using this special. So we just wrapped up her specials, and I believe that second special on Zam is going to be very good. That's a great start to improving her kit. Now let's take a look at an ability Shapeshifter, her unique. Now Zam actually had a unique called Shapeshifter, but I think there's going to be a huge revamp here. I think Urza is going to tell us all about it. Urza, what's going on with Shapeshifter now with Zam Wessel?
So you're right, this was a total overhaul, and it's worth noting there is a Zeta on this ability, and it reads, at the start of the battle, Zam gains 20% increase to her offense for each scoundrel attacker ally, 20% increase to max protection for each scoundrel tank ally, 20% increase to max health for each scoundrel support and healer ally.
So she's getting a bunch of stat increases of offense and sort of defensive stats here.
More damage, more protection, and just more tankier overall. Again, this kind of plays into just kind of the comp you put together, but overall, I think you got to be happy with this. And it's worth noting, I think we looked at this Nukin, and it was only an additional, it doubled the percentage bump from 10 to 20 with the Zeta. So just consider that. Zetas are a tough investment, and especially Omegas now with all these bounty hunters, with the contracts that you have to factor in there. These guys are heavy Omega investments, so just something to consider as you level these guys, leveling gear.
Let's see what this leadership's all about. Take it away, man.
Yeah, it's having a blast, and bounty hunter allies gain plus 25% in potency and recover 4% health and protection whenever an enemy is dealt damage by a thermal detonator. When a bounty hunter ally uses a special ability, they inflict a thermal detonator on the selected target for 2 turns, which cannot be evaded. So, more thermals.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of cannot be evaded, so that's also a nice sort of, rework, kind of, you don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff, but not having to worry about dodges is nice. All you have to worry about is that potency tenacity check. So I'm liking a lot of that cannot be evaded stuff. What about the contract, man? Every leadership seems to have a unique contract. What do you need to do to complete her contract?
Yeah, and they are maintaining the theme here of thermal detonators, but they call them bombs here. The contract calls for inflicting 20 bombs on enemies, so thermal detonators or Dengar's mini mine mayhem. The reward, if you complete this contract, is all bounty hunters now inflict thermal detonators on all enemies whenever they die, which cannot be evaded. There it is again. And all bounty hunters allies have their payouts activated.
All right. So inflicting 20 bombs. Probably going to be difficult against some teams, but not too bad on some other teams. So
yeah. To me this screams more territory battles. Like you're going to have those 6 waves to basically do a lot of work on, and I think that would probably be the mode in which this would come into play, and probably be able to be the reward and the contract be fulfilled pretty quick.
Zam's payout. Everyone's been waiting for this. Let's see. Let's be the judge if this is even a good one. Let's take it away. Zam's payout, Urza. What is it? And let's see if it's any good.
So Zam's payout is whenever an enemy takes damage from a thermal detonator, Zam has a 25% chance to dispel all debuffs on herself. She gains stealth for 1 turn, and she gains 2% max protection until the end of the encounter. So, it's something. I don't know if it's better than some of the other bounty hunter payouts. I don't know. What are your feelings, Nukin?
It doesn't scream like amazing, but I can see how this is going to help her. So there is kind of a lack of cleansing capability on the bounty hunter team. For example, being able to cleanse herself might be nice. So like a huge drawback, like for example, even in territory battles, we were talking about TV, if you get dazed, well, suddenly Zam's not going to be gaining all that thermal detonator stuff and going back to back. So being able to get rid of that daze will be nice. I think also the stealth for one turn, that's interesting because you can kind of like hide her and maybe go glass cannon on a particular team. And then we all know, we both covered Aura Singh. Aura Singh has a lot of stealth synergy with bounty hunters as well. So that kind of, seems interesting there. And then just the capability of gaining some extra protection recovery until the end of the encounter. That seems nice. That seems like, not super amazing, but it seems nice, when you combine all the other potential to regain health and protection, it seems like she's not going to be as fragile and she should be able to last a little bit longer in the battle. So I'm liking these changes overall. Doesn't scream super overpowered, but it definitely seems decent so far. So
we're going to look at recommended mods now, and we have some recommendations, and we both kind of talked about it, and I think it's kind of the same old story that you're probably familiar with. Basically, the theme here is we want to make sure those thermal detonators are sticking, so we're recommending at least a 2x set of potency, and then possibly as speed 4x, and then obviously you're going to want speed and potency wherever you can find it on the secondaries. Until we learn a little bit more about mods 2.0, I think we're pretty comfortable with those two recommendations, just kind of getting that potency jacked up. And then maybe a crit damage triangle for when she does crit, and just get that little extra damage on the crit damage triangle. And then a potency cross, of course, just to keep that potency just as max as possible.
All right.
Let's move into TW, where we're both in love with bounty hunters. The one thing we want to highlight here is the bonuses that these guys see in Territory Wars, the bounty hunter faction. So there's two very specific bonuses we want to talk about. The first is called Wet Work, and this is kind of like a combat analysis on R2-D2, where whenever they crit, they cleanse all debuffs on themselves, and also they gain plus 15% critical damage stacking.
That's a nice one right there.
So that is the money for TW. And then there's also another bonus, I forget the name of it, you may remember, but it is a plus, I want to say 20% critical chance for all scoundrel allies.
It is a nice, decent
Wars.
critical chance boost. The name actually is not coming to mind, but don't worry about it. They basically, bounty hunters have double the bonuses. They're bounty hunters and scoundrels, so they're that much more powerful in TW. So you guys save your boss leads for offense. I see a lot of boss leads on defense. I think since there's a lot of similarity from Arena to TW, I don't think a Zam leadership is going to do that much right now. But what will Zam do as maybe a fifth character on a different bounty hunter led team? Currently right now, Boss Bleed is the best one. Django might become a little bit better in some situations. We're not going to be talking too much about that, but assuming that you don't even have a Django ready to go, let's just talk about what we do have. A lot of people have been grinding Bosk up for quite a while. He's a great character, very versatile, now has a ship. So let's just kind of maybe focus on Bosk Lead. Would Zam fit as a fifth character on a Bosk Lead? What do you think, Urza?
I think Bosk is indeed the best bounty hunter leader out there right now, but I'd feel more comfortable putting Zam on maybe a Boba,
maybe like Boba for offense, team. Or maybe.
Yeah, maybe for offense, because Boba has the thermal detonator synergy with his leadership, as well as all the speed gain from potency. So I'd feel more comfortable placing the thermal detonator crew, maybe the Greedo, Mini My Mayhem with Dengar, and Zam with Boba. And then you have maybe Bosk, Embo, Django. I know we've talked about him a little bit. And then maybe Aura, the other bounty hunters, what's left, and they go on a different team. So maybe you have an offensive and defensive team, maybe an A and B team. I think at the end of the day, she's going to be better with like a Boba lead.
I basically, I think we were both agreeing that you're not going to want to use Zam's leadership on the team in a PvP environment for sure. you're gonna want to run probably, Aura Singh, Boba Fett, Bosk, or maybe Django lead in TW.
Yeah. So I think we both agree that she's going to be a decent leader. I mean, maybe not the best. I think if anything, she's going to be one of the most fun leaders you can run at Bounty Hunter for something like territory battles. I mean, just getting her to rattle off a lot of thermals, and then if you're running her at lead, she's going to double those, and she's going to have bounty hunters placing thermals for just using abilities. It's going to be super fun for an environment like territory battles where you can just pop those thermals and just keep the turns flowing and keep cycling those cycling those abilities and just keep spamming the thermals. So I think it'll be fun. Is it going to be the most effective way for clearing some of those high phases at the end of a TB? I don't know. We kind of need some better footage to test around, but overall, I think she's going to be fun, and I agree. I think they've done a lot of good things here with her kit. All right, guys, I am back, and it is super late at night, but I have the power of the Celestial Seasoning at my side, and yes, I'm going solo right now because after we recorded last night with Nukin, we learned today from CG that thermal detonators have now become uncleansable. So this is a huge development. Similar to that of the effect of Plague and Fracture. So with that, I ran a couple more test fights just to reaffirm what we thought about Zam lead in Arena. And to be quite honest, guys, I'm showing you the footage now. I didn't see much of a difference at all, but I wanted to just do our due diligence and make sure we explored all avenues here. And that's quite all right, guys, because it's my belief that CG redesigned the Bounty Hunters and Zam's kit to be super effective at territory wars and territory battles. That is our focus here. And the change to thermal detonators, making them uncleansable, makes building two different bounty hunter comps a real thing. You can have one behind a boss lead, which uses kind of all the good stuff bounty hunters, and then you maybe use Zam or Boba at lead, and you put all the thermal detonator bounty hunters there. So it's an interesting dynamic. We'll have to do some testing. Again, this wasn't the footage I wanted to show you guys. I wasn't able to test in TW to give you a real indication of all the bonuses that they get, the ones we talked about earlier, to see all that stuff at play. So I will have to look at recording footage down the road to give you guys a better view on what it's going to look like. And again, sorry this video went a little long. I want to give a big thanks and shout out to Nukin for his amazing insight and the collaboration tonight. Please do stop by his channel and check out his amazing content. He puts a ton of work and a ton of thought into everything he puts out. So don't forget to leave a like and subscribe here down below, and I will see you guys next time.